So the first thing you want to do is get your fabric and fold it in fours. So as you can see here, I fold it in half and then in half again. And you want the folded side on this end. So the open side is on this end, because your folded side is going to be your middle part. So that would be your center line and your back line. So you grab your pattern, and this is the center, and this is the side. Because you can see this is the armhole, and this is the neckline. But we won't need the neckline for this sweater. So you want to leave like an inch on the center, because you want to have enough room to put in your zipper. Okay, and then I'm going to trace this and cut it out. Okay, I'm done tracing my pattern. As you guys can see, I did it a light color so you can't really see, but if you put it up closer, you can see. And then we'll go ahead and pin it all across the pattern where we marked, and then we'll cut it out, and then I'll show you guys when I'm done cutting. And remember how I told you we're not going to use the neck piece? See? So I just traced here all the way to the corner here, so you will have a nice collar. And then I just trace it all the way down, following the shoulder and around. Okay? And this is how it should look when you're done cutting. I added 3 more inches on the bottom, because my brother is very tall. So, and you gotta have like an inch or an inch and a half hem down here to make it pretty. And then I'm gonna take out the pins, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, now I'm gonna do the arm, and I just remember how my fabric was folded in fours earlier. I just open it up and fold it down this way. So, because this fabric is long enough to go half and then do 2 sleeves. So I fold it this way, and I measure my arm, and it was 10 inches. So I just want to fold it down enough to 11 inches. So I have that 1 inch of seam allowance to sew on. And then I will show you guys how to do the arm. Okay, as you can see, I have it all bowed, and it's to 11 inches all the way across. And I put the white on top this time because last time I put the red on top and we couldn't really see when I traced in my pattern. So I want to do white because I'm using a yellow tracer. You could use color pencil, it works the same way. So I'm going to trace with the yellow so you guys can see this time. And we just put the shirt, this is your shirt that you traced earlier. And we just put the armhole on the end over here. And we'll trace this, but we want to leave room at the top. So when we put it in, we have enough room to sew it together, because you want to have that seam allowance. And I will trace it and show you guys. I'm going to make it smaller at the end, because if you notice, your sleeves comes really big at the shoulder, and then when it goes down to your wrist over here, it becomes smaller. So you could just measure your wrist and then put it down and stuff, and I will show you guys how I did that. Okay, so I just grabbed his sweater and measure it, just the one side, and it was 6 inches. So I want to have 7 inches because you want to have that 1 inch seam allowance again, to enough to sew. And so I went, go ahead and mark since 6 inches down here. And as you can see, I already traced it, my sweater, my arm over here. I already go ahead and put this on there, and I went ahead and traced that. And then from the end here, you want to put your yardstick there, and you want to put the end here where your end of your sleeve is. And what you're going to do now is just trace straight across, all the way across. Okay, as you can see, I'm done tracing and pinning it down so I could cut it. And the reason why I pin it down is because I don't want the fabric to move on me while I'm cutting it, and so it won't come out all funny looking. And this is how it should look when it's done. You notice how there's a curve right here. Okay, and since we cut it 4 layers, of course the bottom's not going to really be that even, but I went and go ahead and kind of trim it a little to kind of even it. It's okay if it's not totally even, because that's where you're going to sew, so it won't really show. Okay, now we're to the hood part. I just grabbed my brother's hoodie and use it for my pattern. Just fold the hood in half, as you can see. So I'm going to trace all the way around, and what I'm going to do right here is come down, go all across like that. So you want to like add a triangle right here, because this is going to be the triangle, the beak peak of the sweater. So you're going to come down here, and then you want to go, and then you don't want to trace right on the pattern. You want to leave like an inch seam allowance again. And then what I'm going to do too is I'm going to come down more and across more, because you want to leave that room for the collar. And I'll show you guys how it's done after I trace it. Okay, as you guys can see, I'm done tracing. You see how I came out like that a little? Okay, and then I went all the way around, and then you see how I did the beak? I came out like that. You kind of want to round this. I kind of ran out of room over here, but when I cut it, I'm going to round this, so when you hem it and you sew it, it will come out with an angle. Okay, and then I just came all the way down, and there you go. Okay, now I pin it where I think it's gonna shift when I cut it. And I forgot to mention that you only want to cut this piece, you only want to fold it in half. So you fold the white in half and the red in half, so you only get 2 pieces instead of 4 this time, because you only want 1 hood. Okay, here are all my finished cutout pieces. And now to the sewing part.